What the fuck have I got myself into? Holy fuck. Well, I'm gonna start taking it apart, start the rebuild, I guess, see what I can do, or repair it anyway. Drove it around a little bit, found that there was a broken cog on the back track, and I thought, well, if I'm gonna take that apart to fix, then why not start now, right? So I'll try to document as much as I can, see if I can learn something, and maybe you'll learn something too. Maybe I can help you out with something. Maybe I'll find some stuff online too. All right, see you in a bit. Just started taking some stuff apart, looking at some wiring. If you can see that here, it's pretty gross. Nothing like a good old wasp nest underneath here. Boy, that kind of scares me. Whoa, what is that? But anyway, I don't think anyone's in there, I hope. Get rid of that. Okay, so now power wire to the one I marked when I took it all apart. And ground wire to the other blue, and ooh, high beam works, cool. Okay, ground wire to ground. Lights are brown. Ooh, cool, lights work, deadly. Okay, very careful. Fuel gauge is next. I'm gonna put the ground inside there and the positive right on the bottom. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. I don't want sparky action. What am I gonna do here? Oh, right there. Fuel gauge. Full. Effing dead. Yeah, just a little update on taking the top of the body off. As some of you know, these rails on the sides are held on by rivets. There's about, I don't know, 100 of them. It's a pain in the butt. But once you get them off, you think, oh, okay, you know, I'm going to take it off, you know, take the steering wheel off and all that stuff. And then you find out Skidoo actually stapled the two things together, the two body part, or the body and the bottom. So it's a real pain in the butt. I started taking a hammer and a chisel, prying them out, you know, one at a time, pliers, and they actually staple them every like 6 to 8 inches. So there's a whole bunch of them. Then I started getting smarter and I'm like, my goodness, there's gotta be a better way. There is. I use the Sawzall, okay? So when you're using a Sawzall, take a couple out by hand, but if you slide it in the two cracks very carefully, because you don't know if there's wires on the other side, and then just slowly cut, right? So just so you don't wreck your fiberglass. Now when you get to the back, I got a little paranoid, and I thought, well, what if that blade cuts my tank? So I had to take the tank out. Well, to get the tank out, you got to pull the motor out. So I did. Pulled the motor, pulled the tank, and now I have a lot of room to go with my Sawzall in between and cut those little staples. Pain in the butt, but you gotta do it. Okay, after a lot of swearing, I got the hood off. Couple things. So, the choke cable which was kind of under the spray foam. As you can see there, it was really stuck in there, so I had to pull it hard. But I couldn't get it off the dash. I think there's a nut on the other side. I didn't have a socket. It's only, you almost need like a oxygen sensor socket with a slit in the middle. Stick it in there. So I'm gonna do something different when I put it together. But anyway, I had to keep the choke cable on, and I got that off anyway, okay? Now, I had to get the roll bar off. Now, I don't know if it's factory or if somebody did it, but somebody put cotter pins in the hole here. And of course, it seized up and I couldn't get my hands in there. So I had to grind it, and I finally got the roll bar off. So that was kind of a pain in the butt. Got all the staples out, like I said before. That was good. I had to take the muffler off. I thought I did anyway, so I did before I took the top off. So then I thought I could just pull the body over top of the steering arm there. So I had to disconnect that, and it just slides back. See, I slide that back and it goes over top. But then seat belts were connected. So the seat belt is connected right here. It's kind of raveled. When the body's on, you can kind of do the old reach around. So reach around one side, and then there's panels on the body. Put your hand through the panel and kind of do it that way. I sprayed it with WD-40. It was pretty corroded, but I had to disconnect that to get the body off. The other side, I was able to push through the body, but I had to cut a little slit right here, just so that I could push it through there. Because from factory, they filled it with spray foam. So that would have been a pain in the bum. Now, well. But now that it's off, whoo-wee! Look how open that is. Time for a rebuild. Okay, a little update on where I'm at. So, I got it stripped out pretty good. So it really helps out when you take off the body and, you know, have all this open room. So anyway, taking out the tracks. So I'm done already. Tracks look good. Bogies, well, they're bent and what have you. Sprockets. My sprockets are decent but worn, but the backside, that one got chewed up pretty good. So that's the reason why I wanted to take them all out, was because of that buggered one right there. So what I did was I just jacked it up. You know, with it being stripped as it was, I thought, well, maybe I can flip it upside down, but I got a little paranoid because I don't want to wreck any more fiberglass. So I wasn't sure if I tipped it over with the tracks in, if the weight would, you know, snap something on the side. So I didn't do it. So I just used jack stands. So I just got 3 set up there. So to start this off, I pulled the plug on the side of the gearbox here. That guy right there. Here it is right here. Just put it down. So just to see the tension of the chain. And then on the other side is the tensioner. This guy right here. So I undid the bolt and I loosened it off. So I just turned it by hand, and I went to this little indent here, and that's the most, that's the loosest that the chain can go, right? And you can just do the old reach around again and just kind of feel, yeah, she's pretty loose. So after that, I went underneath because they had the bearing retainers right here, right? So you go underneath. And then I pulled out the seals. Sorry, there's no light, but I pulled out the seals underneath. Just take a screwdriver or a pick, you know, pry out that seal. I put a drain pan here just so that the oil can drain out whatever oil would come out. You know, a little bit came out, but it's always good to be prepared, I guess, right? So pull out the seal, right? You can go on the other side, which is this side here. You can pull up the seal on that side. And then there's 3 bolts. Of course, you know, you have your access hole. You got 3 bolts. Pop those bolts out. Take 2 pry bars. Pry out your bearing retainer, right? And then the sprocket might be a little stuck in your sprocket on the gearbox side. Just take a rubber mallet and tap it and it'll come out. Just to make sure that you get your 2 spacers. So on both, there is actually 2 spacers. They go on the gear side. Make sure you get those. All right? There's 2 on that side too. Prying out your seals, who cares if you wreck them? Those seals are 50 years old, so you might as well change them out anyway, right? You went this far, just get her done. Bogies aren't too bad. Some wheels are pretty cracked up. I'll just go through them. Bogies are easy to change out. You know, replace the ones that are really bad. And if you don't, well, bogies are easy to come out. But some of mine are actually bent. So I'll go through them and I'll straighten them out. See what the shafts look like. All that fun stuff. Anywho, there's an update. Just a quick blurb on how to change the drive belt on the old Elite. Take out the 2 bolts underneath. Once you do that, your whole assembly can swivel up, and then your belt can slide underneath. Roll pin, spring hole. Oh yeah, I'm gonna try to take out this transmission, I don't know, gearbox chain housing. So there's 3 bolts on a flange, as you can see there. This one's not done yet. But you remove that flange. Then that should pop out. And I'm hoping that it comes straight out. I guess we'll see. There's 2 bolts on the back. Take out those 2 bolts. And then, like I said, the flange there's 3 bolts. And now that those are all out, this whole thing lifts out. Easy peasy. These 3 shims go on here on the top. Put the ski through the bottom first. Put these 3 shims, and then the knuckle goes on top, and they sit on the 3 shims. There's 1 shim that stays on the bottom. 2 styles of bolts. The Phillips style goes on the top on the holes, and the Allen key flange goes on the bottom, and those hold up the side pieces. When installing the shell or the frame, remember, rubber washers go on the top. There's 4 of them. Okay, a little update. Bottom is totally stripped. So, took the frame out, or the skeleton, or structure, or whatever you want to call it. Put the side pieces where the bogies bolt to. They go on the inside and outside of both sides. So it's pretty simple to remove this. All you gotta do is remove a shitload of bolts, but only on the sides. Like, remove the bolts on the sides here, you know, of the tunnels on all sides. And then remove these bolts in the front and remove your skis. And then this frame literally comes right out. So I gotta do some fiberglassing, and that's the reason why I did it, because I got a couple spots where it needs some repair, and I thought, you know what, it'd probably just be easier if I remove the shell. But of course, whenever you remove something, you find other problems too, right? So I guess if you want to open up that can of shitworms, then that's cool. To get this out as well, I had to take a little tool, and I'll show you this thing here. So this gets stuck on the sides, and this is a perfect tool. You know, you use it for drywalling and whatever else. But I stuck it in here, and I just had to break the seal from the steel and the fiberglass. It was pretty stuck, as you can see all the corrosion right there. So even though it's fiberglass, well, I guess, you know, it kind of corroded and rusted and it stuck to it. You know, this side's not too bad, but this side here is worse. But anyway, it was stuck. So I just had to pry it a little bit, but make sure you don't pry too hard, because this is 1970s fiberglass too, right? You're gonna wreck it pretty easy. Okay, time for a pressure washing. Okay, I'm gonna start doing some fiberglassing. So I already did this little corner here. Get the front here to do. So what I did was I just ground it off. Ground out the little cracks so the epoxy can go in there. And I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna put some tape on this side here so that when I put the fiberglass down, it'll just kind of pool up inside there and seal it up, hopefully. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. Okay, beauty. All right, looks like this piece is already broken. Somebody put a fiberglass chunk on. Didn't really adhere, which is a good thing, because I'm gonna try to pry this off and redo it. So if you're lucky, whoever did the job before did a shitty job and it pops off easy. And that's what we'll do. And then after this, we'll put on a new coat. Hopefully it's better. Okay. Painted all the pieces, as you can see here. Started installing the skeleton frame supports loosely. Just finger tightening the bolts, just so that everything kind of lines up. Still got to put the under pieces in. I need a helper for that, just to hold it up and put bolts in and nuts and all that fun stuff. But anyway, all these bolts were fine thread 1/4 inch. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna make it easy. Throw in some coarse thread 1/4 inch bolts and nylocks. Should be good enough. The motor mount bolts, they're a carriage bolt from Bombardier, and they had like a lock nut that fastened them down. So I did the same thing with new carriage bolts, but I used a mechanical lock nut to lock it down. And then of course the rubber mount goes right over top. Oh yeah. Anywho, I couldn't find the original carriage style with the nut that they made. So good enough. All right. Okay, I got it all in. Frame is all in, all bolted up. Nice and tight. Brand new hardware. Except for the flat washers, because I couldn't find that right size. But everything else is new, other than these flat washers. Unlike that guy from Manitoba. Anyway, it looks pretty good. Remember, I have to get some new ones too. Let me get one here. Okay, remember, these rubber washers, there's 4 of them on this backside. One here, one there, one there, one there. I just got to get new ones, so I'm going to slide those in after. And also, 4 rubber washers have to go into the front as well, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just for the vibration, I'm guessing, from the frame to the fiberglass. One thing, if you're taking apart yours, I don't know, I never did, but when you're taking apart the structure, I don't know if you want to take measurements. I'm hoping for the best. You know, everything's pretty square. I don't know about this distance here, if it needs to be a certain distance for your seats to sit in, like with the top half, you know. But I mean, that's easy. Just undo your bolts and align as needed, you know, with your motor and your belt and all that stuff. So I don't know. I never thought about that when I took it apart, but if you're taking it apart, maybe take some measurements, wouldn't hurt. And then always remember, before you put in this front piece, you got to put in your steering. I did backwards. I had to take it all apart, which is only a few bolts, put it back in. Other than that, there's a couple of little pointers, hopefully. All right. Have fun. Well, fuck me gently sideways and spoon me after. Fucking got her in there. Everything's bolted up. Looks good. Brand new hardware. Right? Unlike the guy from Manitoba. Literally, this is a bag of 100. There's a what? I don't know, 10 left. There's like literally 88 bolts to tighten up and do up. Effing rights. Now it's time to sit and ponder and fucking just look at it. Fucking rights. Oh yeah. Hard time getting front bogies in. Took the old floor jack, shoved a piece of wood inside so that presses down on the front bogie shaft. And you can jack it down with the handle. And then look underneath. Where's the hole? Lines up the hole. Not too bad. You just gotta go do another reach around and put the bolt in. Fun times. Holy fuck. Finally did her. Got her in. Gene, you're right. That was a cunt. This is how it looks when it's in. With the spider over this way, that's forward. The spider in the middle, that's neutral. The spider, of course, to the other side, that's reverse. The spider has a taper. You need to put the taper pointing away from the drive pulley or the driven pulley, because you need that taper so it doesn't hit the gear. Just if you didn't know. When trying to set your tension on your driven pulley, a lot of the manuals say for Alpine to be 18 pounds with a fish scale to open up. I got a cheap little spring scale, so it's not as accurate, but it's good enough. So anyway, there's 3 holes on this driven pulley. Hole 1, hole 2, and hole 3 is over here. So in all the books it says for the Alpines to be about, one book said for a 73 Alpine to be about 18 pounds of open. And then another book said that the Elite and the Alpine should be 8 pounds. So I stuck with 18. If it's wrong, it's easy to fix anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, the first hole, what I found was with my fish scale, it would open up between 4 and 6 pounds. Second hole is about 8 to 10 pounds. And the third hole I picked is about 16 to 18 pounds. Okay, so I just lined it up. Hole 1, it would be put here, and then I twisted it. It was only a short distance. With hole 3, I just went to the next cog, which is right there, and it was about 16 to 18 pounds. Gearbox on and sealed. Tracks do spin. They're a little tight.
Those rubber cogs are kind of a pain in the bum. Sprayed them up, seem to work. Just gotta work them in. Next, I don't know, skeezer motor. Okay, remember, when you're putting in the motor and you're all excited to get the belt lined up and all that stuff and you torque it all down, remember one thing. You can't put the exhaust pipe in after. Damn it. So put the exhaust pipe in the motor first, slide it into the exhaust, into the muffler, and then tighten up from there. God damn it. Well, that was a pain in the anus. Anyway, I'm making these little videos for me to remember for next time if I ever do this again, which I'm sure I will, and for all you guys out there who've never done this before either. But anyway, next time, god damn it. Put this in as like a unit, right? Put your exhaust in, don't secure it. Get your motor ready, get your mounts. You can put your cross mounts in first if you want. These ones right here, like the bottom pieces. You're gonna have to put your manifold in your motor and then kind of slide it in together, right? But next time, okay, so these little studs here on this mount plate, you got the crossbar, and then you got your motor mount, and then you got these studs here. So these studs are they're like a press fit, like they're knurled or whatever you want to call it. So when you suck it up, they should stay. Now where I messed up and where you guys can do the right way next time when you take it out is weld the bottom of those bolts to the plate. So because I went on and off and on and off with those fucking nuts, the bolt kind of let loose. So I had to put a vice grip on the top and do it by hand till it snugged up, and then it was all good. But next time, weld those in place underneath. Cool. So the way I had to do it was I had to kind of like twist it, lift with my might, twist it on there, and then twist it onto those mount bolts. Pain in the anus, like I said. Okay, next time I'll do better.